was able to speak with some of the neighbors of Richard Allen. They've lived near him for several years. They were familiar with him but didn't know him well. But on Thursday, October 13th, they noticed a lot of activity outside his house, a lot of cars that appeared to them to be unmarked law enforcement vehicles, a lot of men not in law enforcement uniforms but in suits and khaki pants, all arriving at the house just before noon. They asked Richard and his wife to exit the home and to remain outside of the home throughout the day. They weren't allowed back into the home until around 11 p.m. that night. During that time, Richard stood outside. His wife sat in a van. He stood outside that van for several hours. One of the photos shows that we've exclusively obtained. Another photo shows him sitting in the van with his wife with the passenger door open for another several hours. At some point, as it was starting to get dark out, these neighbors noticed that the Carroll County Sheriff's Chief Deputy Tony Liggett arrived. He had a piece of paper with him. He showed it to Richard Allen, and at that point a tow truck arrived and started taking the car away, one of the cars away, not the one he'd been sitting in, but a car that the neighbors recognized as one that he routinely used. And they began a search inside the house and also in the yard using some sort of a device, perhaps like a metal detector or something like that, to search a flower bed and also an area around a shed. They did dig around the shed, some small areas. They took a lot of photos in the shed. The neighbors also watched through binoculars as officers came out of the house carrying several bundles of cloth, dark cloth, perhaps clothing, a Macy's shopping bag, a shoebox, and a stack of books, small books.
Wow.
And at this point, we don't know what any of that means for the investigation. That is something that I'm sure investigators have spent the last several weeks looking for, whatever evidence perhaps led them to today.